I am so excited to have Steve Beecham on the podcast. He is, it's kind of like the first day of fall, and he rides up here on his motorcycle with no helmet. And I think that's who Steve is. And if y'all can visualize that, then you'll understand exactly who he is. Just a brief introduction. I mean, if you want to be a rock star and you want to have better relationships with your customers and coworkers, you got to get Steve into your organization. He is a storyteller like no other. He's a mixture of Jeff Foxworthy, but just a true Southern gentleman that can spin a yarn like nobody I've ever been around. But the great thing about it, guys, is he spins it with these business nuggets that are they're gold. I mean, they are truly, truly gold nuggets that will make you a better storyteller. And I think that, thousands of years ago when we were sitting around the campfires, that's what we did. We told stories. And those stories resonated. And Steve does that better than anybody else. He's an author of 2 books, Bass Ackwards, which is just a great title, and then his newest book, What's Your Buzz? And I think that's all about the storytelling. So, Steve, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm excited to talk with you and share you with our audience.
Well, appreciate it. I'm tickled to be here, and this is kind of my life work now, and so it's kind of exciting, when you get to do stuff that really is coming from your heart.
That's right.
So
yeah. So tell me about how did you, just kind of give the viewers a background. How did you go from retail shop owner manager to mortgage to now you are an author, you are a wizard when it comes to telling stories? I mean, how did this all transpire?
Well, I've always been pretty much self-employed. I've hardly ever worked for anybody, and I had one of my first things I did is open a clothing store, and my mom, and so we had to learn how to infiltrate the community to get people to come to the store. And then I went from that to the garbage and recycling business. Then I had a bigger community. We were doing business in a couple of counties, and so I had to go out and make my village bigger.
That's right.
And then I got into the shutter business with a friend of mine, and that was sort of southeastern, and my village got even bigger. And how do you do that? And then I moved in by accident into the mortgage business, and then that kind of brought it back. And then that was a little bit more concentrated, and basically most of your business came from real estate agents. And so all of that combined, while I was in the mortgage business, I kind of realized that the way everybody was doing their marketing was what came out to me to be bass backwards from what I should be doing. And basically the marketing at that time in the 90s was go out, knock on the door. We handed out rate sheets. Hey, I'm greater than sliced bread. You need to be using me. I'm the guy. And that just didn't feel right. So that set me on a course of saying there's got to be a different way. There's got to be a more fun way. There's got to be a more loving way. And through a series of a lot of stuff, going to a lot of conferences, reading a lot of books, interviewing a lot of successful salespeople, I came up with the theory of you've got to understand that people have pains and pleasures. And we kind of know that, but we don't do anything with that. And so what I tried to start doing was, as I would converse with people, I would try to find out what their pains are, what their pleasures are, what's going on in your life that's not comfortable right now, or that maybe I can help you with. And what I found was that for everybody's pain, whatever their problem was, there was somebody else I knew in my village who saw that person's problem, as what they did, as their pleasure. So I'm talking to somebody and they're having employee benefits problems, and I say, hey, I got a guy named Great, you need to talk to him. And so those hookups became, what I noticed is I would get this thing called a wow. People would call me and go, wow, that's cool. Thank you. That was a great hookup. And then when I got the wows, I started noticing that the more wows I got, the more referrals I got. So in essence, and this came together for me about 2 years ago. I read a book from Adam Grant called Givers and Takers. And he said that there are two types of givers. There's a guy that gives, and he's a guy you call him and you say, hey man, I got to put up the chairs at the school for the play. I'm running out of time. Can you come help me? And the guy says, okay, fine. And the reason why you called him was because you knew he was somebody that Mike could do it. Right. So he comes over and he helps you put the chairs out. But then he wonders, I never got anything from Steve. I helped him. Why didn't he ever give me a referral? Why didn't he say thank you or anything? Because in my mind, I needed some help, and I looked for somebody that I thought could help me, and he did. But then there's a kind of giver that you call that guy and you say, hey, I need you to help me put the chairs out. And then he shows up with 6 kids from the high school, and they knock the chairs out, and he says, dude, what time you need me back here this afternoon to take them down? Mm-hmm. And then he shows back up with the kids, and they take them down, and then you go, wow. And so giving is about giving more than what's being asked.